Hey there, friend. Dr. Randy Arno here with Headstrong Coaching. I'm a licensed psychologist and professor of psychology, and I'm here to give you science-based strategies to maximize your happiness and wellness so that you can become the best version of yourself. Now, in today's video in my series on sleep, I'm going to tell you how you can determine how sleep deprived you are. This is something that psychologists refer to as sleep debt. So, let's jump right in. Now, if you've seen my previous video on sleep debt, you know that what sleep debt is essentially the deficit in sleep needed that accumulates each time you don't get as much sleep as your body actually needs. Now, if you haven't seen that video, I highly recommend you go and watch it because it has some really important information about how sleep debt works and just how much it can impact your day-to-day mood, attention, and your overall functioning. With that said, let's talk about a relatively simple and practical way that you can determine just how much sleep debt that you have. So, a key fact here is that how sleep deprived you are is actually directly correlated with how sleepy you feel during the day, and it's also correlated with how quickly you can fall asleep during the day. So that brings us to what is called the multiple sleep latency test. It sounds fancy and complicated. It isn't. The term sleep latency just means how long it takes you to fall asleep, and it's called multiple sleep latency tests because it's recommended that you measure your sleep latency several times during the day and take the average so that you get a more reliable estimate, given the fact that how sleepy we are does tend to fluctuate throughout the day based on our circadian rhythm. Okay, so how do you do this by yourself? Because obviously, if you're trying to time yourself to see how long it falls asleep, you're going to fall asleep and you're not going to wake up to see how much time it took. So, how do we do this at home by ourselves? Of course, you're going to need a comfortable place to lay down to sleep, preferably your bed or couch or wherever you normally sleep. You're also going to need a stopwatch to measure the time. The one on your phone works just fine. And you'll also need a metal spoon and a plate. Now, you might be asking, what? Well, this is going to be your alarm for when you fall asleep. So here's how it actually works. You're going to turn off your lights and get into bed and holding the spoon just over the edge of the side of the bed. Once you figure out where on the floor the spoon would fall if you dropped it from that position, go ahead and put the plate down on the floor on that spot. Okay, then you're going to get back into position. Go ahead and get comfortable, being sure to lightly hold the spoon dangling over the side of your bed. And now go ahead and start your timer and close your eyes to sleep. As soon as you are actually asleep, you'll be in what's called stage 1 sleep. You will lose muscle tone and you will drop that spoon. So when you fall asleep, the spoon's going to fall and it's going to hit the plate on the floor, and that's going to jolt you back awake, and you just stop the stopwatch and record your time. Now, like I said, it's most accurate when you do this 3 or 4 times during the day and take the average of those times. But if you don't want to do that, you can still get a pretty good idea with just one measurement. Now, on the next slide, I'm going to tell you how to interpret your results. But first, if you do decide to measure this several times, there's a couple of important points. The main point here is you should not then go back to bed and nap, even though you might really feel like it since you just fell asleep and were so rudely awakened by the spoon hitting the plate. Don't do it. When you take a nap, it's going to reduce your sleep debt, and so that's obviously going to seriously skew the results of the test. Now, the other point is to make sure you leave enough time between tests so that you're fully awake and alert before you repeat the test. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at what your results mean. Okay, so let's look at what your results mean. If it took you between 15 and 20 minutes or longer to fall asleep, congratulations, you have little or no sleep debt. Now, if you fell asleep in 10 minutes to 15 minutes, That means you've got a little bit of sleep debt, but it's at a manageable level. It means you could see some improvement in your functioning by working off some of that sleep debt, but for most people, that's a normal amount of sleep debt and it's not going to affect you that much. Now, if you fell asleep in only 5 to 10 minutes, this is where you're really getting to a problematic level of sleep debt. It means you've accumulated a lot of sleep deprivation to the point where you're very likely going to be feeling really sleepy during most of the day. You're going to feel low energy, and you're going to feel probably a lot of the negative effects of sleep deprivation, such as impairments in your ability to focus and in your hand-eye coordination, your reaction times, and things like that are going to be impaired. So this is a range. If it only took you 5 to 10 minutes to fall asleep, I would definitely recommend you work on figuring that out and reducing your sleep debt. Now, if you fell asleep in 1 to 5 minutes during the day, this is serious sleep deprivation. It's very likely, unless you have a really good idea of why you have so much sleep deprivation, it's quite possibly could mean you have a sleep disorder, such as insomnia or sleep apnea. People with a rare sleep disorder called narcolepsy tend to score in this range when they're not being treated and medicated for it. So that's a little bit about what your results mean. Okay, so if you've determined that you are more sleep deprived than you want to be, and you have a higher sleep debt, you're probably asking, what can I do about it? Well, you may or may not like the answer. The only way to pay back sleep debt is, you guessed it, sleep. Now, the good news is naps do count. If you nap, even if it's only a 15, 20, 30-minute nap, that pays back 15, 20, 30 minutes of sleep debt. Now, with that said, your specific approach to getting that extra sleep back that you need to pay down your sleep debt, what you do may depend on actually why you have that sleep debt. And that would be the first question I would ask myself, or that I would ask you is, do you know why you have that much sleep debt? Because very often people do know why. They're just purposely not making enough time to sleep, either because they're working really late, or maybe they're been binge watching that latest series on Netflix. So if you're staying up late purposefully, you just need to ask yourself, is it worth it to suffer the negative consequences during the day? And again, you can see my other video that I've linked linked down in the comments on sleep debt, and you can see about what some of those negative consequences are. But some people might not really truly understand the consequences of high sleep debt until they've actually experienced what it's like without a lot of sleep debt. So I would do yourself a favor and go ahead and schedule your life so that you can gradually pay back that sleep debt, adding in some naps during the day, sleeping a little bit later in the morning, or going to bed a little bit earlier. Pay that sleep debt back and see if you don't have better mood, better energy, focus, attention, and performance during the day. Okay, but now what if you really are trying to get enough sleep and you just find it hard to get to sleep at night? Or, you're tossing and turning, or you're waking up a lot during the night. In that case, the first thing you should do is take a look really closely at what's called your sleep hygiene. See if there are things that you're doing or not doing that could be making it easier for you to sleep at night, or certain things that you're doing that make it harder to sleep at night. Now, I've got a couple of videos out already on sleep hygiene and tips in that regard, and I'll definitely be putting some more of those out soon. But also, I've written an ebook on sleep that has a lot of good information on sleep hygiene and other tips to get a better night's sleep. And for just a limited time, I'm actually giving this book away for free. So if you'd like a copy of my free ebook, just click on the link pinned at the top of the comments below and get your free download. Okay, now, what if you think you're getting plenty of sleep, but you're still really high in sleep debt. In other words, what if you have no idea why you actually have high sleep debt? If that's the case, I would really recommend you take a look at what some of the warning signs of the more common sleeping disorders are and see a physician or a sleep specialist. And again, my ebook does have the warning signs of possible sleep disorders. So there's another reason to get your free download. Now, it will not allow you to diagnose and determine for sure, but it'll give you some idea whether it's something maybe you should talk to your doctor about. I hope you guys have found this helpful, and if you have any questions or comments from this video, please just post them below and I'll do my very best to answer them. And again, if you'd like the complete ebook for free that I've written on sleep, focusing on the practical issues of how to get a really good night's sleep, this is a special promotion and it's not going to be free forever. So I recommend you go ahead, click that link and download it. Again, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.